Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host Sean McGahee, and this is a show where we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. You can listen to Dayspring Discussions on iTunes, YouTube, Podomatic, and Patreon, and contact Dayspring Discussions on the Facebook group, Twitter account, and dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com. Well, happy Tuesday everyone. It is a very chilly day here in Austin, Texas. Guys, I gotta tell you, being a person who was raised in the Midwest, in the cornfields of Indiana, it really feels like fall right now because it's just as cold here as it is up north, minus the snow, of course. But I heard in some parts of Texas it did snow, so that gives me a little hope. I know, I'm weird. I like it. It feels like home to me. Let's move on. Well, guys, I got a packed show today. Lots of good stuff to talk about. But first, let's get to the obvious here. Yesterday, legendary comic book creator Stan Lee passed away at the age of 95. Guys, I cannot tell you how disheartened and sad I am to hear about this. Stan Lee, aside from George Lucas, probably the most influential person creatively in my life. He created so many characters that I love, not just myself, but of course everyone else. I mean, just to go down the list here, we got Hulk, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Thor, Silver Surfer, Punisher, Daredevil, the X-Men. The list goes on, really, guys, and it's just sad to hear that such an icon in pop culture and the number one face of comic books passes away. But he was 95. He lived more in one lifetime than some of us could have in 5. So for that, I will say, Stan, you will be missed, but buddy, you deserve to rest in pieces. He just was a legend, you know. Back in 1961, he created the Fantastic Four and started the Marvel Universe that we know today. Now, last year, his wife of 70 years, Joan, passed away. Little fun fact that I posted online earlier was Stan had been working for Timely Comics for several years, and he wanted to quit comics, actually, just as he was about to hit 40. But his wife, Joan, said, well, tell you what, write one comic that you want to write just since it's going to be your last one. And that comic turned out to be the Fantastic Four. So I guess there is a good instance of a wife telling her husband to do something and it turns out better for all of us. Remember, behind every great man, there is a great woman. But that's just a little fun fact. There are several fun facts, of course, about Stan Lee that I've learned from watching many documentaries over the years. I myself am paying tribute by watching my favorite Marvel movies of characters that he's created. So last night I sat down and watched X-Men Days of Future Past, my favorite X-Men movie. This morning I watched the 2005 Fantastic Four film, which is my favorite Fantastic Four film. I'm going to watch Avengers Infinity War because it's my favorite Avengers film. And then I think I'm trying to decide whether I want to watch Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man 2 has always kind of been my favorite Spider-Man movie. But the more I watch Spider-Man Homecoming, the more I like it, the more I really feel like it captures what Spider-Man is. But Spider-Man 2 does that as well. To be honest, Spider-Man 2 with Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane has always thrown me off, so it kind of gets a negative there, but I'll figure it out as I go along, guys. But let me know how you guys are celebrating the life of Stan Lee. What are you reading? What are you watching? He's a legend. He will be missed. And, of course, you can go online either to my personal Facebook account or, of course, the Dayspring Discussions stuff and see all these little fun little tidbits that I'm posting. Of course, all celebrities are, raving about him. It's the number one thing around Twitter right now, and rightly do so. Okay, I mean, let's think about it. Without the Marvel Cinematic Universe, without Marvel movies in general, he changed the face of pop culture. There's no doubt about it. With his partners like Steve Ditko and Jack Kirby, who also get quite a bit of credit, or should, for helping create these legendary characters as well. But Stan Lee, 95, passed away. It's sad, but he will not be forgotten. The characters that he created will go on forever, guys. So, all right, let's get on with it, guys, and move on. So, a lot of good stuff going on, like I said, but first thing I want to lead with here is Friday. Disney chairman and CEO Bob Iger announced that Lucasfilm is developing a second Star Wars live-action series for the Disney streaming service, which they are officially calling Disney Plus. Now, the first one we're getting is The Mandalorian, which is being creatively ran by Jon Favreau. Now, this one is set to follow the adventures of rebel spy Cassian Andor during the formative years of the rebellion prior to the events of Rogue One, a Star Wars story. And the actor Diego Luna, who played the character in Rogue One, is going to be back. He said, quote, "Going back to Star Wars universe is very special for me. I have so many memories of the great work we did together and the relationships I made throughout the journey. We have a fantastic adventure ahead of us, and this new exciting format will give us the chance to explore this character more deeply." The series is set to be a rousing spy thriller that will explore tales filled with espionage and daring missions to restore hope to a galaxy in the grip of the ruthless Empire. Now, the release date for the series has yet to be announced, but I'm sure we'll get something soon. Star Wars series, guys, I'm all about this, okay? The Mandalorian, yes, I'm excited for it because it's a Star Wars series. To be honest, I'm more excited for the return of Clone Wars than I am the Mandalorian. But one thing I've learned from the Netflix series, such as Daredevil, Defenders, Jessica Jones, all this other stuff, is that you can take these characters that, you know, are popular and possibly need to be family friendly, but if you put them on a streaming service like this, you can give them a little more edge. And also, with a series versus a movie, you can spread it out a little more, get a little bit more backstory, more in-depth, and honestly, I've always said I enjoy TV better because of that versus movies, and this is no exception. Cassian Andor, a character who I was very intrigued by in Rogue One, giving him his backstory, that's awesome. If you read the Rogue One book, you know that actually Cassian grew up as a separatist during the Clone Wars. His family were separatists fighting against the Republic and the Jedi all those years ago. And that's something I think would be really interesting to give flashbacks of as far as him as a child. Let's maybe bring in Hayden Christensen or Ewan McGregor back as Jedi and he gets to meet them as a child. How exciting would that be? That's just something that popped in my head just a second, and now I'm super excited about that. But I'd love to see him and his point of view of the Clone Wars. That would be interesting. And of course, going and him growing up into the rebellion, how he gets involved in it. I mean, because really, he never stopped fighting or switched sides. He, was fighting against the Republic, which turned into the Empire, and he kept fighting against the Empire. So really, he's true blue. And with him as well, he's a character who you can tell just from Rogue One, he has done some things he's not proud of, but he does them telling himself that it's for the greater good. And there's that scene towards the end of Rogue One, just before they go on the last mission, where it looks like the rebellion has been crushed. And Cassian turns to Jen, and he's like, "Oh, we have to do this. We have to keep going because I can't live with myself doing all the bad things I've done if it was for nothing." And that really, gives the character a lot of depth. I think there's a lot of places you can go with him. Also, I know we've explored the pre-A New Hope era quite a bit with Rebels and other books, and even what the comics they're doing just after A New Hope. But again, a little different perspective, I think would be really cool. Also, the fact that it's live action, so let's bring back some of those original characters, okay? Let's bring back Jimmy Smits as Bail Organa, the woman who's played Mon Mothma, all those Rogue One characters that we saw. Let's bring some of them back, and of course, maybe even get a little glimpse of a young Princess Leia. How old is Millie Bobby Brown now, huh? She's what, 14, 15 years old maybe? Okay? Maybe we go back a little ways where Cassian, sees her on a Videotron or something like that. I don't want to go just to one period. Of course, Diego Luna is going to star in it, but I would love to get flashbacks of his younger years. Maybe even something like an Arrow, where they do like flashbacks throughout the first couple of seasons. That's just what I think would be cool. But nonetheless, I'm liking this idea just because of the fact that I do love me some Star Wars, and I do love me TV long-term storytelling formats. So I will say I'm probably more excited about this than I am The Mandalorian, but we'll see how it all goes, guys. Fire back, let me know what you think about this series and just how much you like or dislike Cassian Andor. Okay, next up on the agenda, yesterday a new trailer, or the first trailer, dropped for a Pokemon movie called Pokemon Detective Pikachu. Now, this film is set in a world where people collect Pokemon monsters to do battle, and a boy comes across an intelligent monster who seeks to be a detective. Pikachu, the main kind of face of the Pokemon franchise, is going to be voiced by Ryan Reynolds, but only Justice Center, who plays Tim, can actually hear what he says. Everyone else just hears the patented Pika Pika that the character is known for. This, I gotta say, I've never been a fan of Pokemon. It hit the animated series right after, I was getting in my teenage years, so I was out of cartoons. Plus, the idea of collecting monsters to do battle just doesn't sound as cool as, say, like lightsabers or superpowers, but it does have a following. I have several friends that love Pokemon, and they seemed really excited about this. Even though I'm not a big Pokemon guy, this film does seem interesting. The aspect of it, the Detective Pikachu, something tells me this is not going to be the last Pokemon live action film that we see, especially if this one does well, which it does look pretty cute. The main guy in it, Justice Smith, you might know him from the latest Jurassic World film. I myself know him as Zeke in Netflix's The Get Down. Lasted 2 seasons. I love the show. It got canceled, which I'm sad, but I love him as an actor. I think he's really good. So the fact that he's getting this starring role, I think sounds really cool. And of course, the feel of this definitely has kind of like a Bumblebee vibe to it, kind of similar, person with the monster or alien or whatever, and the way they bond together. One notable thing I was looking over when I was looking at IMDb is that Ryan Reynolds' co-star Karan Soni, who plays Dopinder in Deadpool, actually has a role in the film as Jack, and we all love us some Dopinder, so to see him in another Ryan Reynolds film, I think is just cool. But this film, the trailer, it looks cute. I'd like to see a little more. I probably will end up seeing it just because of the genre of it. But, it could go either way, I think, in my opinion. But we'll wait and see, guys. Fire back. Let me know what you think about this trailer. Detective Pikachu, do you think it looks cute? Do you think it looks stupid? Tell me about it. Okay, next up, very briefly, these last 2 stories, guys. Netflix has decided they're going to do a holiday special for their latest series, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, coming out December 14th. It's going to be called Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, A Midwinter's Tale. Now, the episode finds the Church of Night celebrating the winter solstice by singing pagan carols and telling ghost stories. As the log line promises, you never know what might come down the chimney. Now, this series, of course, has been very popular for Netflix. Came out last month, just before Halloween. The special is set to have all the original cast coming back for it. Kind of a one-time thing. Even the showrunner, Roberto Aguirre Sacasa, which I know I butchered, is going to be running this whole thing. And it's really kind of a push that Netflix has for this. It's beginning to look a lot like Netflix, where they're putting out a lot of Christmas-themed stuff. I know they have that Kurt Russell Santa movie in the works. I'm not going to watch it, but anything with Kurt Russell, I fully support. But Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, I actually finished this last week, the season 1, and I will say, as much as I enjoyed it, I'm not sure if I'm going to watch season 2. I like to try series. I give them a chance. That way I can say I like it or don't like it, giving it a fair shot. And I finished season 1, but I think for me to be interested in season 2, there's going to have to be a really good season 2 trailer to get me to watch. The way season 1 ended was kind of dark and saw Sabrina go kind of dark. Now, where this takes place, I don't know, because, like I said, Sabrina ended in kind of a dark place. So if it continues from there, I don't know how cheery this holiday special is going to be. Maybe it won't be cheery at all. Maybe it's meant to be, something kind of Krampus-esque in that dark style, which I guarantee they're going to do something with Krampus in this. But another thing about the Sabrina show that kind of bugged me was movies and other TV shows do this too, where there's a character who's a bad guy, and we as the audience know they're a bad guy, but the hero or the main character doesn't, and they continue to trust that person. It, to me, makes the main character or hero seem kind of dumb, in my opinion, and Sabrina has that. If you haven't watched the series, I'm not going to spoil too much for you, but you'll know from the first episode what I'm talking about. And the fact that you go through the entire season 1 and she doesn't realize this person's the bad guy. Again, other movies and TV shows do this. I'd much rather have that reveal with the character rather than before the character, because it just seems a little silly to me. But nonetheless, this Christmas special is coming out. But I want to know what you guys thought about Chilling Adventures of Sabrina 2. Let me know, did you like it? Did you not like it? Are you going to check out this Christmas special? I think if you're a fan of the series, I'm assuming you are. I'm curious what a trailer is going to look like too. Again, show me a good trailer. I'll check it out, because that's a trailer's job. But fire back, guys, on the social media groups and, of course, Gmail account. Let me know. All right, guys, I am out of time, but I'm going to run through this last story just real quick. Lego Batman director Chris McKay has signed on to direct an upcoming Jonny Quest film. This is all according to The Wrap. Now, for those of you not familiar, Jonny Quest follows a young boy who travels the world with his father, an adventurous scientist. He is joined by his father's bodyguard, Race Bannon, as well as Johnny's adoptive brother, Haji. Now, the original series, The Adventures of Jonny Quest, debuted in 1964 from Hanna-Barbera Productions. The show was so beloved that it aired for decades despite having only 26 episodes. Then, in 1996, there was a follow-up series called The Real Adventures of Jonny Quest, but that only lasted a single season on Cartoon Network. No idea exactly when this is set to come out. Now, McKay has been talking for a while now that he has been attached to direct a Nightwing film for Warner Brothers, although he's also said recently that while it is still something he's interested in and it's still on the plate for him, it's going to be a little bit down the line. So him doing this instead, that's fine with me. Jonny Quest, I gotta say, my dad, when he was younger, liked The Adventures of Jonny Quest. When I was a kid, I actually watched The Real Adventures of Jonny Quest on Cartoon Network. I even collected some of the comic books as well. So for me, this is interesting. It's something I'm interested in. I think it could be fun, especially Chris McKay. Love Lego Batman. Such a funny movie. So I'm all about that going on and him directing it. I really want him to do a Nightwing film too. But Jonny Quest, if he's not going to do Nightwing right away, Jonny Quest seems like a good one for him. But that's it, guys. That's all I got for today. Time for you to fire back, of course. Send me your love for Stan Lee. Let me know some good Stan Lee memories or feelings towards him. I want to know that stuff, guys. What'd you think of the Detective Pikachu trailer? And, of course, Diego Luna, Cassian Andor, Star Wars series coming to Disney+. I'm excited. Are you excited? Let me know. Facebook group, Twitter account, dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com. You can find me personally on Twitter and Instagram, SlimDayspring12. And that's it, guys. Hopefully I'll be back on Thursday with some more news. Until then, may the Force be with us all.